Welcome to On Wings of Song. This is Paul Kwartin. And today the Miller Brewing Company is happy to bring you on this series of programs on the music of the Jewish people, the beautiful voice of Judith Raskin, Metropolitan Opera soprano, singing compositions of the late prolific Jewish composer A.W. Binder, whose anniversary is celebrated this month. Ms. Raskin, in addition to her operatic and concert schedule, teaches a master class at the Y on 92nd Street and Lexington Avenue, and we'll be speaking with her shortly. First, we're going to hear her sing Binder's Candle Blessing. That was Judith Raskin singing a beautiful Candle Blessing by the late A.W. Binder. And how many temples would give their right arms to hear it sung that way on Friday evenings? Welcome to On Wings of Song, Judy Raskin.
Well, I'm very happy to be here.
Now, we have a lot to talk about. Your former mentor and accompanist, George Schick, was my former mentor and accompanist.
He's not my former accompanist, he's still my accompanist.
Well.
We do recitals all the time.
Aha. Your Central City Opera engagements and my Central City Opera engagements. But, first of all, I'd like you to tell us about your classes at the Y. That sounds most interesting to me.
Well, I'll tell you briefly how I got there. A.W. Binder, was my first employer, and he discovered me, if you will, and his daughter, Hadassah Markson, heard me do a recital and came to me a year and a half ago and said, somehow, some way, I'm going to get you to the Y. And she asked me what I'd like to do, and I said I thought there was a real need for a special kind of training for young professionals, not a workshop, but a class where I could individually pull people together, as it were, with all the training they've had to make them feel they could do it their way. And so we have a small class, and I give them a lot of individual attention, and we're thrilled to death. And I'm delighted to work for Mrs. Markson because she's a wonderful boss.
Yes,
in the tradition.
Yes, she is. Yes, she is. So, how large is your small class?
Well, I had wanted to make it 10, but it's about 14 now because we're just that many gifted people whom I liked. But at a given time, 8 to 10 show up, and they feel like they've been worked very hard. We give them at least 20 minutes each time they come and to do arias and scenes. But as I say, it's very individual attention, and I get them to perform. It's not an acting class, it's not a singing lesson, it's not a coaching lesson. It's pulling all of those things together at a given moment. And I've heard from them that everywhere they've gone afterwards seems to recognize there's been a change, which is always nice for a teacher to hear.
Well, I should say, and how fortunate they are. Is this your first experience in this direction?
Well, not really. I have been a professor at City College, and I've done a workshop there, but it's been on a different level. This is specifically for career-bound singers, and in that regard, it's different because at City College, it's somewhat academic, somewhat professional, depending on the individual. But here, I will not accept someone whom I don't think has a chance to hit it into the big time, or at least into the mainstream.
Well, I'm very happy, and our listeners, I'm sure, are very happy to hear about this, and we salute you, and we want to hear you sing some more. The next selection that Ms. Raskin will sing will be A May the Words of
May I just say one thing? I
Yes.
want to tell you that I'm very fortunate to be able to sing this. When I worked for A.W. Binder, the alto usually did this, and he loved altos, and he used to say to me, my altos go to the Metropolitan Opera and my sopranos have babies. And I did both, and I saw him many years later, and I said, Mr. Binder, how come this soprano had babies and went to the Met? And he said, you're the exception that proves the rule. So up there in heaven, I hope you don't mind my singing your alto, may the words.
Beautiful.
Although this one says you can...
Beautiful, beautiful.
This one says the soprano can do it, too.
Yeah, good.
Okay.
Judy, would you tell us about the second May the Words of Binder, which you're going to sing for us?
Well, let me tell you first that this one was performed at the 70th anniversary of Dr. Stephen Wise, and it was at the Stephen Wise Free Synagogue that I worked. I never mentioned that earlier.
Ah.
The second May the Words was written for a service called Sabbath for Israel, and I'm particularly fond of it because I believe that our choir, that is the years that I sang, were the first people to have sung this work. I'm sure it's performed all over the world now, but we were there, and it was in the early 50s, and I think Dr. Binder had just come back from Israel and was very inspired. Again, this was for an alto, but I'm going to sing even the part that the choir sang at the end there because that's the part I know.
Good.
All right.
Good.
By the way, June Morano is playing for me, and she's there at the piano now. Hi, June.
Great.
Okay.
Thank you, Judy Raskin, for those two beautiful settings of May the Words by the late A.W. Binder. We thank the Miller Brewing Company for its continuing interest in the music of the Jewish people. And Miller says, when the average beer drinker drinks the average beer, he doesn't need much time at all. If he's really dry, he's too interested in soaking down his thirst to even bother to taste what he's drinking. And with the average beer, maybe that's just as well. But when a person sits down with a quality beer, he wants some time to enjoy the taste. And that's what Miller time is all about. Miller time comes when you have a few minutes to yourself, time to sit back and relax, time to appreciate the difference between a good beer and a great beer. When you find yourself with a few minutes like that, you might as well spend them with a glass of the best tasting beer you can find. Miller High Life, America's quality beer since 1855. The Miller Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Today we've had the great pleasure of having with us Judy Raskin, and we hope you'll come back again to On Wings of Song.
I thank you. I'd love to.
And what's in the immediate future aside from the master classes?
Well, I have some recitals coming up. I'm going to premiere a new work by Miriam Gideon. It was commissioned for me by a wonderful man his name is Sid Siegel, who did this in honor of his daughter's high birthday, which I thought was a wonderful idea.
Beautiful.
And we're going to do that in St. Paul at the Chamber Orchestra there. And I have some master classes in Ithaca College coming up, and doing some things with George Schick this summer. So we have quite a schedule ahead.
That's a bit. Miriam Gideon, isn't she marvelous?
Yes, she really is. She's a very special lady.
Well, again, Judy Raskin, who is giving a series of master classes at the YMH-YWHA on 92nd Street in Lexington, and we're so happy to hear Ms. Raskin sing A.W. Binder's Vishamru.
So
beautiful Judy Raskin. And I'd like to ask you, looking into the past a little bit, how did you enjoy Central City, Colorado, the Central City Opera Company?
Well, back in our days, it was an absolutely marvelous, marvelous company. It was mostly Metropolitan Opera, New York City opera people. I even had a chance to visit it now, and they're doing some very nice things. It's a different company. That is, the character of the company is different, but very pleased to report they had a season, have had a couple of seasons. I hear for a while there was a little shaky.
Right. I go back a little further to the days of Richard Bonelli and John Brownlee and Eleanor Stieber, but it was great. Then during the war years, it shut down, so I'm glad to hear that the standards are there.
Yes, we've been very helpful. That is, the National Endowment for the Arts has been very helpful, and getting them on a good program, not only excellent productions, but matter of fact, June Morano was playing for me, was there this summer with their apprentice program. They're doing a lot of interesting things.
Wonderful. Now I want to hear you sing again, and it's going to be Shirat Ha'Roeh, the Song of the Shepherd by A.W. Binder.
Well, it's arranged by A.W. Binder, and I have to tell you, I'm probably the only one who has this music because he gave it to me. And the point of doing a program was to show the different aspects of his composition. I've been singing a lot of liturgical works, but this is one of the few that I own. There are others that he arranged, but this is an arrangement that he said, Judy, you'll sing this well, and so I hope I do.
Beautiful. And now Judith Raskin closes our program with Binder's Lord, Do Thou Guide Me.
Shall I be at peace?
beautiful tribute we have had to the music of the late A.W. Binder by Judith Raskin.
I must say, may I just say before you say another
Sure,
word?
sure.
A.W. Binder really started me off on a career,
Oh,
and I
isn't
have
it?
to give him credit for being not only my first employer, but setting a standard for me. It might be interesting to know that in that choir was Sandra Warfield, who sang at the Met,
yes.
and the great singers like Lawrence Davidson,
Oh,
who was at the Met, and
yes.
he really had, A.W. Binder had a standard for singers and a standard for performing, and I'm very grateful to him. So after that, I'll tell you, Metropolitan Opera
Yes.
came out of many years of work, of course, but it was nice to have had that kind of a start.
Thank you, Judith Raskin. We have had today a very special pleasure. The fine Metropolitan Opera soprano, Judith Raskin, singing songs by the late A.W. Binder. This is an anniversary for the late Dr. Binder, who was one of my teachers at Hebrew Union College, School of Sacred Music, the cantorial school. And I'm pleased that Judy was able to tell us about her early experiences in Dr. Binder's choir, where other fine singers such as Sandra Warfield and others sang. And we're going to try very hard to have Judy Raskin with us next season in some of our Cantica Hebraica concerts, and I'll be telling you about those.